What's up, everybody? We are here in the CL studios to hear a story of somebody who is going to be sharing, and we haven't shared in a long time on here, so you should feel very special. This is Taylor. Welcome, Taylor. We need like a sound effect.
Woo!
There you go. This is our Christmas edition too, so we put this in here just for this. So this is Christmas edition. But I'm here with Taylor. Taylor is in our middle school Canamac Campus Life program. So Taylor, if you would, just give us a little brief introduction about yourself. Tell us like your likes, your interests, any of that stuff.
Okay, so I go to I go to 8th grade Canamac. My interests would probably be gymnastics and cheer. I would love to do that. And I like shopping and like buying clothes for myself. And I like kids because they're just fun and like bubbly and just so fun.
Okay. So 8th grade Canamac student, and I have just a random question for you.
Okay.
If there was any celebrity that you could punch in the face, what celebrity would you choose?
Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter. Why Sabrina Carpenter?
It's a long story. I used to be a big Olivia Rodrigo fan, and she just got on my nerves because Olivia didn't like her, and I was just like, I don't like her.
All right. So you were.
But now it's just formed into like I don't really like Olivia anymore. So now it's just like I just don't like Sabrina Carpenter.
Nice. We thought this was going to be a good, wholesome family show, but it's not.
Dun, dun,
So,
dun.
all right. So, if you would, Taylor, tell us how long have you been coming to Canamac Campus Life?
So I've been going since last year in 7th grade.
All right. So you started coming 7th grade, here and there. And who was it that you don't have to say their last name, but who was it that invited you?
Farah, and she was going because of her cousin Deja.
Okay. So this is now. Now you've been coming kind of on your own, which is cool.
Yeah.
To see that you did come back your following year to 8th grade. But if you would, before we kind of get into the whole campus life thing, if you would just tell us a little bit about you and like your story, your background, maybe your family life, and just a little bit about who you are today.
I was born in Greenville, Pennsylvania, and about whenever I was 8 years old, I moved to Washington, Pennsylvania, and then 1.5 years ago, one and a half year.
Year and a half ago.
Yeah, a year and a half ago, I moved here to Canonsburg.
Okay, so that's kind of your journey along the way. Tell us a little bit about your family growing up.
So, I didn't know my biological father until about last year, and I always thought that my brother's dad was my dad, so I just believed that, but I found out, last year that he wasn't. And then my mom has had 2 boyfriends since then. One was named Justin, and the other one, who she's with now, is named Edric. And, yeah.
Okay. So, what would you say is the kind of growing up in transition from Greenfield to Washington to Canonsburg and kind of having some guys in your life that you thought was your biological father that wasn't? Like, what would you say is the hardest part that you've ever had to overcome up into this? You're young, so obviously up until 8th grade. How old are you?
14.
14 years old. So in your 14 years of life, what is the hardest thing that you've had to overcome?
Well, finding out my biological father was not the person who I thought he was, and also the jealousy of other kids growing up having parents that were in a good relationship, or even just dads, just really was hard.
Okay, so seeing other people your age have good relationships with that have dads involved in their life. Has been something hard for you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your honesty in that. So, so you've been coming to campus life since last year. You're in your 8th grade. Why do you come? So you come by yourself. Your friends aren't coming now, but you've made the decision to come back and be committed to campus life. Why is it that you've made that decision?
Well, last year, I had a friend at the time, and Farah, the girl who I was originally friends with, we took a break with our friendship, and during that time period, I found a new friend, and she was here, and we were here for campus life one day, and she took my phone, and that just really hurt because I thought she was like my best friend, and it just destroyed me because I thought she was going to be the person who was going to help me through all of this. So when she did that, it like kind of hurt. So that was when I decided I needed like to find a new path of life because I didn't want to live like that, and that was not who I wanted to become because I could see my future. And yeah. Also, eighth graders last year, right around that time, I was watching them. We did like a little eighth grade goodbye activity because they were going to the high school campus life, so they wouldn't be around for this time of year. And I was like kind of disappointed by that, but I was watching it and I was like, I want to be more like them because the way I act now is not very, mature and eighth grader like. And at the time, like, I didn't think eighth graders were that old, but like, I just knew that they were a lot more mature and I wanted to be more like them. So I made a change and stopped coming with my friends and started listening more to the message instead of playing the games.
Okay. So that's pretty mature of you to make that decision in 7th grade. I don't think I made that decision until I was like 23, but that's besides the point. So that's pretty cool for you to make that decision. I know you were telling me before that you kind of had like this impact moment last year. You want to tell us about that activity that you were describing?
Oh yeah, it was during 7th grade. It was towards the end of the campus life, and we were doing an activity downstairs. We got a little post, like a note card, and we would write on it like the most top 3 important things to us. So on the top, number 1, I would put God and Jesus and like my relationship with both of them. 2, I put my family, and 3, I put school, and I taped it on my mirror.
Okay. Would you say that that decision kind of started pointing you towards following Jesus at that point?
Yeah, it was at the time it was a little baby step to me, but like I didn't realize how much that made me think about campus life and my journey towards Jesus.
Yeah, I like that word, baby steps. Yeah, that's good. Um, Prior to that, I know you've shared with me before about your mom, and you were kind of getting into some other stuff.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about what that was?
So when we were both like when we went through a lot of stuff together, so when that was happening, we got into stuff that we just helped distract us, honestly. It was tarot cards and like gems and crystals, and um, we would watch this lady do it, and she would tell us all about our love life because we were both in a really hurt place, and it just helped us get us through the day at that time. And like I started listening to it, and I'm like, I don't really agree with this. Like it just made me feel a certain type of way, and I told my mom about it. And right before she met my her now boyfriend, my stepdad, she was like, yeah, you know what, maybe we should stop watching it. And we kind of shifted away towards it, and we didn't watch anything better, but we just stopped watching it, which I think was honestly a huge step.
Yeah. So you mentioned that was kind of like a baby step for you. So then you come back this year for your 8th grade year, and hopefully you will continue, maybe even be a student leader in high school.
I
I know the director well of the high school campus life, and maybe we could get you involved in student leadership.
I told my mom about that last night. We were talking about this and how I was going to go on this podcast and how I was like excited and nervous and I wanted to be a leader one day, and I've thought about it a lot since the beginning of this year.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we'll have to talk to, I think her name's Emily. We'll have to talk to her sometime.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that was kind of like a little baby step that you took there at the end of your 7th grade year. What about now you're coming back 8th grade year? We're halfway through the school year. Any impact moments, times where you were like, man, I think I'm ready to take another step closer?
Yeah, I think seeing that I used to come with this certain group of people last year, and we would all just be on our phones, not listen to what I view as the most important part. We would all just kind of like not listen to you and be disrespectful and be on our phones whenever you were preaching. And I stopped coming with them for a few reasons that I, one, didn't want to be friends with them, and two, that I knew I was growing as a person, but I didn't know how I was gonna get there. So I just decided like if I want to do something, maybe I need to start a relationship with Jesus. And I knew that immediately what I was doing was wrong. And I knew it at the time too, but I just did it because my friends were like, "Oh yeah, let's just do it." So now not coming with them and getting like a leader that I talk to every week, Miss Jody, like has really helped. And now I am more like better and more. What did you say it was?
Step closer to Jesus.
Yeah, step closer to
Yeah.
Jesus.
We'll talk more. You mentioned Miss Jody. We're going to talk more about Miss Jody in a minute. But I asked you about any impact moments this year in your 8th grade year. And so we did a little activity. And so I actually have this here for another reason, other than Christmas is coming up soon. But there's something inside the stocking because we did a little activity around Thanksgiving, and we just wrote thank you notes to Jesus.
Oh.
And so I had told all the students that me and Erica would be reading not just the thank you notes, but there was also note cards that they put in. And we put them in a gift for Jesus. And we were going to do something different. Instead of getting gifts for ourselves, we were going to give a gift back to Jesus. So one of those things was giving thanks for certain things. So I have your thank you note here. And she does not know that I was going to read this. But I am going to read this because this is really why I wanted to have Taylor on, because this is pretty cool. But I'm going to read this. It says, or do you want to read it?
Okay, I'll do it.
You want to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus, it is time I have finally come to say thanks and go from grateful to thankful. Our journey together has been rough at times. There has been drastic ups and downs, but no matter what, your footprints stuck by me. I had thought I'd given my life to you and God many times, which isn't wrong, but also not entirely true. As you know, I had given you my life, but up until the last week, 11/19/24, I had never acted on it. Last night, I felt a difference. It impacted me so wildly that I turned to you. I don't know what changed, but what I do know is I will spend the rest of my life devoting it to you. I love you, Jesus, and thank you.
That's awesome. So something wild happened that night. That's called an impact moment. That's where the Holy Spirit really nudges on your heart and speaks to you. And so you acting on that and saying, hey, now I'm ready to make this decision for real. And so we can obviously see a change in your life. You know, you've been committed. You started coming to furthering your faith. And speaking of Miss Jody, you mentioned her as being one of your mentors. Why don't you just share with us what furthering your faith is and how Miss Jody has impacted your life?
So Miss Jody runs Furthering Your Faith. It's just another baby step towards Jesus and like improving your relationship. And we just do different activities. I know last night we did a little Bible activity where we got Bibles and we highlighted and talked about all the different things that were in the Bible. Like I remember the first one was law, the second one was history. I don't remember all of them, but we would just highlight books and like what class they were in. So like law and history were like 2 examples. And yeah.
Cool. So, and then you also said that this past weekend you did something as well with your family and Miss Jody?
Oh yeah, I went to church with Miss Jody.
Nice. Do you remember the name of the church?
Tov, T-O-V.
T-O-V, Tove. So, very cool. So further your faith. So May kind of made a commitment to God, said, I'm going to put you first, baby step. Made the commitment to come and follow up on your commitment to live a changed life.
Mhm.
And then I forget what the date was you said in here.
11/19/24.
11/19/24. Don't even need to pull it out. So at Campus Life 11/19/24, you're like, man, something wild happened.
Mhm.
I don't know what it is, but that's the Holy Spirit. And so he's tugging on your heart to say, hey, take that next step closer to me. And so you did that, and now you're plugged into furthering your faith with Miss Jody. Even I think your family went along with you to Tove. Did they go as well?
No, they didn't, but they're coming this week because they were a little busy for Christmas.
Okay, cool. So you went with Miss Jody to Tove.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. So it's awesome just to see a transformation happen in your life, and it's just exciting to see someone at a young age really grab a hold of this and say, hey, I'm ready to start following Jesus. So that's commendable to see that in you. And so we hope that you do continue following Jesus all the days of your life and, get plugged in next year. Obviously, finish out your 8th grade year.
Yeah.
Because God definitely wants to use you to do some awesome stuff within your friend group, within your family, and then, get plugged into the high school campus life as well. So exciting stuff. So thank you for coming on here and sharing your story with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you.